afternoon. This is for Modular 4 on race, ethnicity, and white privilege. In this modular, I'm going to focus on intersectionality, which was in Chapter 6 of the Susan Jones and Alicia Abrams textbook. Intersectionality is an analytic framework of understanding identity. It appears to capture more fully the complexity of who we are as an individual, acknowledges that each of us possess multiple identities, and address the argument that there are multiple dimensions of social life operating in every micro moment. After reading what intersectionality was, I found this interesting because most of the theories that we have been reading on during this semester usually only focused on one or two identities within a theory. However, when looking at intersectionality, it's totally different because it focuses on multiple identities, which I found this really interesting because when I reflect back when we were studying Chapter 4, the MMDI, asking who am I or who we were, I found it hard just to find one identity as a core to describe who I was or the sense of self. However, with the intersectionality, it's not just about the individual, but it also helps us understand multiple dimensions of why people experience life and how people see themselves and how they are treated by others. This model is, to me, more interwoven with the social identity model and the MMDI model and the RRMDI model, which we studied in Chapter 4 of this textbooks. After reading this and trying to reflect back to my experience, I found out that we have quite a few students that have multiple identities, so it's hard just to expect them to just have one when I see that they are definitely with multiple identities. For example, last year we had a student, she was number 1, a female. 2, she was an African American female, and she also was an athletic here at UNCW. She played on the softball team and actually had a role as president of the SGA org here on campus. So when you look at her as an individual, it would be hard for her to have just one identity. She definitely has 4, which puts her under the multiple identities, which this is what we talk about in the intersectionality model. I think this is a great model. It's something I want to study on. This is something that I think you can really get in depth with if you want to apply it in higher education. I'm definitely going to read more up on this one. I have to agree there will be a couple of drawbacks on this model. First of all, I think it would be difficult to conduct just because you're not just doing one part of identity of a person, but you're looking at 3, 4, 5 identities, which will make it more complex, very time consuming, and you got to make sure the data is correct when you're doing it. Another risk would be flattened differences in this modular, not modular, but this model. So I definitely will take part of this and study more into it. I really don't know that much about it, but I just found it interesting because I think we all do have different multiple identities, and we need to look at them to, I guess we're going to have to look at them to, if you want to say, who am I, you have to take all of them into account, not just one. And like I said, I found it hard when I was doing the MMDI, and in the core it was like 1. I mean, you can get yourself down to 3 to 4. So I think that's what the intersectionality is we can use 3 or 4 of these multiple identities to show what makes up a person. That's the end of this posting, and I'll see you in class. Bye-bye.